Welcome to the Midweek Teas with me, Adele Onyango, where I share some random and not too random thoughts on things. And in this episode, let's talk about this values thing. So I've been on my intentional healing journey for a few years now, and the things I've been healing from aren't just things people have done to me or traumas inflicted on me, but also many moments where I've had others. You know, most of the times we seldom talk about the times we have intentionally hurt others. In fact, if we even dare venture into that chapter of our lives, we tend to only think about how we could have hurt others unintentionally, by mistake. But there are very many moments that we have intentionally lied, intentionally been greedy, intentionally done things that we know was going to hurt another person. And just like you, if you're nodding, I hate those therapy sessions when I've had to eat humble pie and admit to being the dick in the story. But they really led me to evaluate whether I have personal values, principles and beliefs that are super strong and guide me in terms of what's right and wrong, what's good and bad. Personal values really influence your behaviors. They influence your relationships and really just like your everyday life. They can help you make important decisions. They can help you with personal development, which is why they popped up while I'm doing intentional healing. And something that we don't actually think about, they also influence like the decisions that are career related. So like the job that you're going to do, the business you're going to start, who you're going to partner with in business, which organizations you're going to be applying to. Your personal values actually do play a role in that. So I set out to, while healing, and I'm still working on this because I feel like healing is almost never ending. It's constantly going on. But yeah, I set out to ensure I have a strong set of personal values that I stick to. And this is important to me, not only to help me, live a life that's aligned with my beliefs, or to help me try and not be the dick in the story. Yani do good most of the time. But it's also so that I can easily identify people whose values are aligned with mine, be it romantic partners, friends, business partners. And this awareness of my personal values has helped me shed off the relationships that aren't aligned with my values. It's helped me, if I had somebody super close to my inner circle whose values weren't aligned with me, I kind of like push them back, if at all I have to interact with them still. So it helped me reduce the noise in my life. It's not, most of the times, like if you're moving someone far away from you or like moving them back from your inner circle, we always think there needs to be this argument or fight that caused that. No, I've begun to understand that it's not personal in the sense that, oh, now I hate you or now you're an enemy. No, it's just, hey, my personal values are not aligned with you. This is in any setting. It's in friendship settings. It's in work settings. It's even in family settings, right? Just because your family doesn't mean you have the same set of personal values. And I feel like doing this work has helped me feel a lot more fulfilled because I'm now creating the environment, both internally and interpersonal relationships that allows me to be at the highest level of mental well-being. So in helping you figure out your personal values, in case you have none, I'll share a few of mine. One of them is determination or ambition. I expect it from myself and from those I interact with or work with. And it seems when you first look at it that, oh yeah, everybody is ambitious. No. No, they're not. Oh my goodness, no, they're not. I have been in a relationship where the level of ambition was stifled, and that really contributed to my discomfort in that relationship. And I remember telling some girlies about it, and one said, Adele, maybe your level of ambition is just too high. It isn't. No, it's not. It's my level, right? And so I just have to ensure I interact with those aligned with this value at the level that this value is at. Because I feel like once you start listening to the narrative of yours is to this or to that, then you're tempted to reduce yourself when in essence, you should just be like, well, I guess mine and this person's values aren't aligned. No hate. I'ma keep moving until I'm aligned with someone. You know what I mean? Yeah, so that's definitely one. That's on my list. Another is honesty. And this one is important to me, especially because of the work I've done and keep doing when it comes to healing and bettering myself. I have had moments where I've been dishonest or I've left out the truth and it's hurt others. And in healing, this is something I expect of myself, absolute honesty. I also expect it in the sense of not only being honest with others, but being honest with myself. Like, don't sugarcoat a situation where maybe I could have done better. Just acknowledge that and be extremely honest with myself. I expect honesty even when it comes to being honest with others when my feelings have been hurt. So like standing up for myself. That's something I've always battled with and been like, oh, I'm scared of confrontation. And it was just like a thing of like, no, it's not really confrontation per se. And there's nothing wrong with confrontation. There's something wrong with how you communicate during confrontation. But I, under this banner of honesty, have come to understand that it also pops up when I think about being honest to others about how they have made me feel if they've hurt me. Another one is kindness. Always lead with kindness. That one is something, it's like non-negotiable. And if I was to rate my personal values, it's probably like in the top 3. I can't kick it with you if you lack kindness. I also have Pan-Africanism on one of my personal values. I feel like I could word that one a bit better, but I'm just going to call it that in this episode because it's something I only realized maybe in 2020. I mean, I knew that I had this deep, undying love and appreciation for my country and my continent, and that I wanted to, through my work, be able to push that narrative and push a just and a better Africa for all Africans, and to push for the end of anything that exploits us and to push for an understanding of colonialism and what it probably has left us with, and neocolonialism, and obviously there's a spillover into governance and leadership and all of those things. I knew that existed, but what I didn't know is that I am uncomfortable interacting with people who don't get that, and don't understand that that's something that is important. I found that I had put myself in a lot of spaces that just didn't see the importance of Pan-Africanism, that were very ignorant, or in their own personal lives were oppressive to Africans, and so, yeah, it's something that I think I've always known is a value, but now I'm understanding that in relationships with others, it's something that I expect. So for example, like even when I say Pan-Africanism, I think people feel like it's such a distant thing. For me, it comes down to even how I treat the people I hire, let's say if it's a gardener, if it's a cleaning lady, etc., who happen to be African. And how do I empower them? How do I respect them? How do I treat them? How do I speak to them? There's also the element of the people I do business with. I mean, just yesterday I was having a conversation with someone about me having to withdraw a pitch I had done to a particular global organization because it's coming out that they have practices that are harmful to Africans, right? And so I was like, ooh, I need to send them an email and just like withdraw my pitch because I'm just not going to follow through. So it's something that I've started acknowledging that is important to me, even when it comes to interacting with others, even on like intimate relationships, friendships level. Yeah, this is some of mine. My list is kidoko long. But I just want to get you thinking of some of the things that perhaps could be important to you to the point where you elevate them to be part of your personal values. And there are some tips I have for you to help you figure that out. I have 3 tips actually. The first one is identify your short-term and long-term goals, because when you start evaluating these goals, most of these will be based on your values. Like you'll unpack your values in them. So for example, maybe the reason that 2020 is when I'm beginning to see that, Pan-Africanism is something that was important to me, is because my actual work around this podcast and around being an active citizen started to really pick up around 2018, 2019. And so maybe 2020, which marked 1 year of doing this particular business that is fully rooted on Pan-Africanism, maybe then it became clearer as I was setting goals for Legally Clueless and working on projects for it that, I find this thing to be very important. So when you set your long-term and your short-term goals, you could subconsciously be basing them on your values. And so your personal values could be the foundation there. So unpack them, unpack those goals, and it could unleash your values. The second tip is don't hang out with people who try and impose their personal values on you. It's going to get too noisy for you to hear yourself, to hear your goals, or to hear your own values. You know, those type of people who, if they believe something, they kind of bully you to believe that thing as well. They don't want you to pause and think about something before you give your opinion. Try and minimize how often you interact in those spaces like that, because it could make it harder for you to figure out what exactly your own personal values are. And it doesn't even have to be spaces where you are talking about intellectual things, you know what I mean? It could be even just like spaces where people are gossiping, and drawing conclusions about individuals. And they're kind of like forcing you to have the same opinion about this person they're gossiping about. And if you don't, you kind of feel like they don't like that. Yeah, stop hanging out in those spaces. The third tip is think back to times in your life where you felt most at ease. Was it at a particular job? Was it in a particular friendship? Or when you were in a particular intimate relationship? Once you think back to those places, perhaps you then will identify a value that those relationships were rooted in, or a value that was important to you. There's always, those relationships you think back to and you're like, I don't know why we just click. It could be aligned values. You know what I mean? However, if you already have identified your personal values, I'd love to hear what some of them are. So whatever platform you're listening to this on, feel free to drop them in the comments. Thanks for listening to the Midweek Teas, a Legally Clueless Africa production. Episodes go out every Wednesday, and you can learn more about us by going to legallycluelessafrica.com.